I never expected my whole life to flip upside down in just one night. One moment, I was living the dream everyone envied. Three childhood sweethearts fighting for me, a future full of promise. The next, I was standing alone in a cold hospital room, holding a woman who couldn't even walk, let alone fight for me. I thought I knew what love was. I thought I had the power to choose who I wanted. But fate had a cruel plan. One that left me questioning everything I believed about loyalty, choice, and what it really means to love someone. They all told me who I should pick. The perfect, beautiful girls who had grown up with me, who shared my memories and my dreams. But I surprised everyone, especially myself, when I said no to all of them. Instead, I married her. The woman everyone saw as broken. The woman the world forgot. They called her disabled. They whispered she was a burden. But I saw something they didn't. Something raw, fierce, and real. That decision changed my life in ways I never could have imagined. It sparked jealousy, betrayal, and secrets darker than the night itself. And now, every time I look at her, I wonder, did I make the right choice? Or was I just blinded by something no one else dared to see? This is my story. The story no one believed, but one that changed everything forever. My name is Ayan. Growing up, I was the kind of boy everyone admired. Charming, bright, and surrounded by people who cared about me. But even with all the attention, there was something missing deep inside me. Maybe it was love. Or maybe just someone who truly saw me. I grew up in a small town where childhood sweethearts weren't just stories. They were promises. And I had three girls who were more than just friends. They were part of my soul. Zara was the first. She was the girl next door, with eyes that sparkled like stars, and a laugh that could light up the darkest room. She was sweet, kind, and everyone thought we'd end up together. Then there was Hina, fierce and independent, the kind of girl who dared to dream bigger than anyone else. She challenged me, pushed me to be better, and made me feel alive in ways I never expected. And lastly, Sarah. Quiet, gentle, the calming force in the chaos of our childhood. She understood me without words, and sometimes I felt she was the only one who really knew me. For years, the three of them were my world. We were inseparable. Childhood friends who had grown into something more, or so everyone thought. But I was different. I never felt the urge to choose. Not Zara, not Hina, not Sarah. I was waiting for something real, something deeper. A love that couldn't be explained by memories or promises. Then there was Aisha. She wasn't like the others. She walked with a cane, her smile often hidden behind shy eyes. People whispered about her disability, and many dismissed her as someone who would never have a chance with me, or anyone. But I saw something else in her. A quiet strength, an unspoken courage that made my heart ache. While my childhood sweethearts were busy fighting for my attention, she was simply there, steady, kind, and honest. Meeting Aisha was like discovering a new part of myself. She didn't try to compete for my love. She didn't need to. She just was. And that was enough. Our worlds collided quietly at first. A smile exchanged here, a brief conversation there. Over time, I found myself drawn to her in a way I never expected. It wasn't flashy or loud, but it was real. When I told Zara, Hina, and Sarah that I didn't want to choose any of them, their faces fell. There was anger, confusion, even betrayal. But I couldn't pretend anymore. I had to be honest, with myself and with them. Aisha and I began a journey no one expected. We faced judgment, whispers, and disbelief. But with every challenge, our bond grew stronger. This is not just a story about love. It's about choices, courage, and breaking free from the chains of expectation. It's about seeing someone for who they truly are, beyond what the world labels them. For the first time, I felt whole. And I knew that no matter what storms came our way, I had made my choice. For months, Aisha and I built something beautiful. A quiet love that felt like a secret sanctuary from all the noise around us. But deep down, a nagging feeling began to creep in, one I tried desperately to ignore. It started with small things, a message that popped up on her phone, quickly hidden when I walked into the room. A sudden excuse to step outside and take a call. A shadow in her eyes when she thought I wasn't looking. I told myself I was imagining things. After all, trust was the foundation of everything. But one night, that foundation cracked. We were supposed to have dinner together at my apartment. She arrived late, distracted, her smile forced. I tried to push aside the unease growing inside me. Then her phone buzzed. I saw the screen light up with a name I didn't recognize. Just 3 letters. R.K. Before I could say anything, she locked the screen and slipped the phone into her bag. My heart pounded. Who was R.K.? Why did she hide the messages from me? That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying every little moment. The secret calls, the rushed messages, the way she pulled away when I asked simple questions. The next day, I decided to follow her. I wanted answers, not to accuse, but to understand. What I saw shattered my world. She met him in a quiet cafe downtown, a man with sharp eyes and a confident smile. They spoke softly, but I caught a flash of something I didn't expect. Familiarity, closeness, maybe even betrayal. I left before she saw me. My mind raced. Was this just a friend, or something more? I confronted her that evening. My voice barely above a whisper, I asked, "Who is R.K.?" She froze, eyes darting away. Then, after a long pause, she said, "He's complicated." Complicated. That word twisted in my gut like a knife. What was she hiding from me, and why? From that moment on, everything changed. The trust we'd built began to crumble under the weight of secrets and silence. I wanted to believe her, but every lie felt like a crack in the walls we'd built together. And I realized love wasn't enough when the truth stayed buried in shadows. Days passed, but the image of Aisha and that man, R.K., haunted me like a ghost I couldn't shake. Every time her phone buzzed, my heart jumped. Every secret glance felt like a dagger twisting deeper. I kept asking myself, am I overreacting? Maybe it really is innocent. Maybe I'm just afraid to lose her. But the seed of doubt had taken root, and no amount of willpower could uproot it. One evening, I sat alone in my room, staring at my phone. Her name flashed on the screen, and for a moment I debated whether to call her. Instead, I found myself scrolling through our old messages, the laughter, the plans, the promises. I can't lose her, I whispered to myself. But how could I hold on when I felt like a stranger in her life? That night, she came home late again. The silence between us stretched, heavy and suffocating. "Why are you distant?" I finally asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked away, biting her lip. "I'm sorry, Ayan. I don't want to hurt you." "Then tell me the truth," I pleaded. "Who is R.K.? What is going on?" Her eyes filled with tears. "It's complicated. He's part of my past, something I wanted to leave behind." "Why didn't you tell me? Why hide it?" "I was afraid you'd leave. I didn't want to lose you." Her words stabbed me, a mix of relief and pain. I wanted to believe her, to hold her close and forget the doubts, but the silence after those words felt heavier than ever. I spent nights tossing and turning, questioning everything. Was she truly honest? Or was there more she wasn't telling me? I remembered the way she pulled away when I reached for her phone. The hurried texts deleted moments before I could see them. If there's nothing to hide, why the fear? My mind spiraled into what-ifs. What if she's still involved with him? What if I'm just a backup plan? What if all this time she's been living a lie? One day, unable to contain the storm inside me, I confronted her again. Aisha, I need to know everything, I said, my voice breaking. If there's something you're not telling me, I can't keep pretending. She looked at me, tears spilling freely. I swear, Ayan, I'm trying. But some things aren't easy to explain. I'm scared you'll hate me. I reached out, trembling. I don't hate you. I just want honesty, no matter how painful. She nodded, and for the first time, I saw the cracks in her armor. The fear, the guilt, the weight she carried silently. But love wasn't enough to silence my doubts. I felt trapped between hope and heartbreak, unsure if I was fighting for the truth or a dream slipping away. Each day was a battle, between my heart and my mind, between trust and suspicion. And I knew, somewhere deep inside, that the truth, whatever it was waiting to surface. And when it did, nothing would ever be the same again. Just when I thought I was bracing myself for the worst, life threw me a blow I never saw coming. The morning after our conversation, I woke up determined to find the truth. I couldn't live in limbo anymore, not with my heart hanging by a fragile thread. So I decided to follow Aisha again. I told myself it was to protect myself, to finally put an end to the silence and doubt. She left the house casually, unaware that I was trailing her steps, my heart pounding with a mix of hope and fear. She took the bus to the outskirts of town, somewhere unfamiliar to me. I watched as she entered a small, run-down building, one that looked nothing like the warm cafes or friendly neighborhoods she usually visited. Curiosity and dread twisted inside me. I waited outside, hidden in the shadows, my breath caught in my throat. Then, something happened that stopped me cold. A man appeared from the building, not RK, but someone else. Someone I never expected. It was her brother. The man looked rough, older, with a shadowed face that spoke of a hard life. He wasn't the man I'd pictured Aisha protecting or hiding from. He was a ghost from a past I didn't know existed. Suddenly, Aisha appeared again, but this time her demeanor was different. Tense, cautious, almost afraid. I saw her give the man a thick envelope. Something passed between them. Not words, but a desperate exchange. My mind raced. What was this? Why was she meeting her brother in secret? What was in that envelope? Money? A secret? Was her past darker than I ever imagined? I felt a surge of betrayal and confusion. I wanted to confront her right there, but fear held me back. Instead, I retreated, my heart heavier than ever. When I saw her that evening, I forced a smile, but inside, I was breaking. "Where were you today?" I asked, voice barely steady. She looked at me, eyes filled with guilt. "I had to take care of something," she said softly. "Something I couldn't tell you yet." But I wasn't satisfied. I needed answers, the kind that could save us or shatter us completely. Days later, I uncovered a secret that made my blood run cold. That envelope wasn't just money. It was to keep her brother from a life of crime, to protect him from his past mistakes. Aisha wasn't just a woman with a disability. She was a protector, carrying burdens far heavier than I could have imagined. And in trying to shield me, she'd been hiding a world that threatened to pull us apart. The woman I loved was fighting battles in the shadows, battles I didn't even know existed. And now I was caught in the storm. The night I finally confronted Aisha, everything inside me was a storm. Anger, hurt, confusion, and love all tangled up in one desperate scream waiting to be released. I waited until she was alone, sitting quietly in the living room. The soft glow of the lamp barely touched the shadows in her eyes. "Aisha," I said, my voice shaking, "why didn't you tell me about your brother? About all of this?" She looked up, tears pooling at the corners of her eyes. I wanted to protect you, Ayan. I thought if you knew the truth, you'd leave. Leave? I laughed bitterly. Do you think I wanted secrets? Do you think I wanted lies? She swallowed hard, her voice barely a whisper. It's not just a secret. It's my life. The past I tried to bury. The family I'm trying to save. I stepped closer, the pain breaking through my carefully built walls. You hid it all. The messages, the meetings. Why didn't you trust me enough to share it? Her hands trembled. Because I was afraid. Afraid you'd see me differently. Afraid that the person I am, the struggles, the scars, wouldn't be enough for you. I reached out and took her hands in mine, feeling the warmth and the fragility beneath her skin. Enough? I whispered. Aisha, love isn't about perfection or secrets. It's about being honest, about standing together, even in the darkest times. She looked at me, eyes wide, searching, as if she was afraid to believe it could be true. And then she did something I never expected. She leaned in, resting her forehead against mine, and confessed, I was scared you'd see me as broken. I shook my head, my voice firm but gentle. You're not broken. You're the strongest person I know. For the first time in weeks, the tension between us cracked. The walls came down and the pain spilled out, raw, unfiltered. I'm sorry for hiding, she said. I wanted to be brave. For you, for us, but I was scared. I pulled her into a hug, holding her tight, as if I could shield her from the world's judgment. We're in this together, I promised. No more secrets, no more fears. But just when I thought the worst was behind us, she whispered something that broke me all over again. There's one more thing, she said, her voice trembling. My heart stopped. What is it? She took a shaky breath. I'm not just disabled because of an accident. There's a reason. Something I've never told anyone. The air thickened with tension, and my mind raced. What do you mean? Tears streamed down her face. I was hurt. By someone I trusted. It changed everything. That's why I walk with a cane. Silence. I didn't know what to say. My heart shattered for the pain she carried alone, the secrets she hid behind her smile. In that moment, I realized love wasn't just about the good times. It was about holding each other through the darkest storms, no matter how painful the truth. And no matter what came next, I would stand by her. In the days that followed, silence settled between us. But it was no longer heavy with secrets or fear. It was a quiet space filled with understanding, the fragile beginning of healing. Aisha and I didn't speak about the past all at once. Instead, we took it day by day, piece by piece, letting the truth sink in like drops of rain slowly soaking dry earth. I saw her differently now, not as the woman with a disability or the keeper of dark secrets, but as a survivor, a warrior who had fought battles I couldn't have imagined. And I loved her even more for it. We started rebuilding, trust, hope, and a future stitched together by honesty. It wasn't easy. Some days were filled with laughter, others with tears, but we faced it together. One evening, sitting on our balcony watching the city lights flicker, Aisha turned to me and smiled softly. Thank you for not giving up on me, she said. I took her hand. Thank you for trusting me enough to finally let me in. But as much as we healed, the shadows of her past still lingered. Her brother's troubles hadn't vanished, and the scars she carried reminded me that some wounds never fully heal. Still, I promised myself I'd stand by her, no matter what storms came. Yet, just when I thought we could finally breathe, life threw another twist my way. One afternoon, as I was leaving work, a man approached me with a cold, unreadable expression. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, he said, handing me a small envelope. Inside was a letter, a summons, a warning, and a threat all rolled into one. Her past wasn't done with us. It was a reminder that some secrets never stay buried forever. As I stood there, heart pounding, I realized that loving Aisha meant more than accepting her scars. It meant being ready to fight for her every single day. Because sometimes love isn't just about the happy endings. It's about standing tall in the face of the unknown. And no matter what the future held, I was ready.